Welcome to EcpPro. This video introduces the EcpPro Policy Module and shows you how it helps maintain consistency across your Microsoft 365 environments. As settings change and new tenants are added, customer environments can gradually drift away from your intended security baseline. The Policy Module allows you to define that baseline, compare each tenant against it, and quickly identify any settings that no longer comply. When configuration drift is detected, EcpPro can help you bring those settings back into alignment. In this video, we will build your baseline, apply, assess, and enforce it, then monitor at scale. Chapter 1. Build your baseline. We'll create a template group that defines what secure looks like for your customers so you can apply the same standard consistently across every tenant. EcpPro maintains a master security baseline covering Microsoft 365, Azure, Exchange, and more. It's a ready-made set of recommended checks, drawn from industry security frameworks like CIS and SMB 1001, and kept current for you. The master is read-only, so you start by making your own copy. In the EcpPro portal, open Policy Manager, then Policy Templates, and clone the complete Microsoft 365 baseline. Your editable copy appears in Usable Templates. Open your template, and every security check is laid out as a table, grouped by service area. For each check, the action mode sets what EcpPro does about it. Disabled hides a check that isn't relevant. Scan reports whether the tenant matches, without changing anything. Alert adds a notification when it drifts. And Rectify allows EcpPro to correct it. Start everything on scan because you want to see the truth of a tenant before anything changes. You can set it across the whole template in one action. Where a check has more than one sensible value, you choose the target, for example, exactly who can bypass the Teams meeting lobby. And if you're unsure what a check does, open it. Built-in guidance explains what it is, its impact, and how to maintain it. And each check shows exactly which framework controls it satisfies. So when a customer asks what standards you're meeting, the answer is right there. Most customers need the same security baseline with only a few differences. Rather than creating a separate template for every customer, you'll create a template group. A template group combines the baseline template we've just created with one or more customer-specific templates. The baseline handles the checks most customers have in common, while the customer-specific templates handle the exceptions. When two templates configure the same check, the lower priority number wins. Everything else comes from the baseline. Assign the group once, then update the templates behind it whenever requirements change. Let's build our customer-specific template. This one is for a customer who needs app consent enforced. Clone the baseline again and name it for the job. Set every check to disabled so this template stays silent, then switch on just the two checks it exists for. Restricting app consent to verified publishers and blocking users from creating new tenants. Both go to Rectify because these are the ones we want corrected. Now, let's create the template group. From Policy Templates, choose Add Template Group and give it a name. Add each template and set its priority. The override at 5, the baseline at 10. The lower number wins, so where both set the same check, the override's answer is the one that counts. Before assigning the template group, open Effective Settings. This is the group's final answer for every check, and the Source Template column shows where each answer came from. Here, restricting app consent comes from the customer-specific template, and the surrounding settings come from the baseline template. Chapter 2. Apply, Assess, and Enforce. We'll apply the template group to a customer tenant, run a compliance check to see exactly where it stands, then review the drift, and let EcpPro correct it. Before we can assess a tenant, we need to assign our template group. From the Groups menu, choose Apply to Tenants and select the customer tenant. EcpPro confirms it has the Microsoft permissions needed to manage policy for the tenant, then applies the template group. The tenant is now ready for policy assessment. With the template group assigned, open Policy Manager, then Policy Dashboard, and select the tenant. The dashboard starts in Assess mode, which allows us to measure the tenant against the assigned template group without making any changes. Run a compliance check, and EcpPro reads the tenant's live settings, compares them with the template group, and shows which settings are aligned and which have drifted. In our example, app consent is already aligned. The setting that blocks users from creating new tenants has drifted from the policy. This gives us a clear view of where the tenant matches our standard and where action may be required. The tenant is still in assess mode, so no changes have been made yet. Start by reviewing the drifted settings. Some differences are intentional. For example, a setting may be configured differently because it meets this customer's specific requirements. When that's the case, open the setting and select Accept Risk. Add a short reason, and EcpPro records the difference as acknowledged. The setting will still appear as drifted, but it's now documented as an approved exception rather than an oversight. Once you've reviewed those intentional differences, you can focus on correcting any remaining drift. This is what lets you enforce with confidence. A setting only ever changes when two things are true. It's marked Rectify on your template, and the tenant is switched to Enforce. One without the other does nothing, so you can't change a customer's environment by accident. Switch the tenant to Enforce and run the scan again. EcpPro shows exactly what will change and asks you to confirm. Then the drift is corrected, and the tenant is back in line with your baseline. Chapter 3. Monitor at Scale. We'll use the policy dashboard, insights, and alerts to keep every tenant aligned over time. The policy dashboard provides a single view of your entire tenant estate. Each row represents a tenant and shows its alignment score, Microsoft Secure Score, operational mode, and the date it was last scanned. In this example, alignment scores range from 35% down to 17%, making it easy to identify which tenants may require attention. Open a tenant to view its Insights page. The alignment trend chart shows how the tenant's alignment score has changed over time. The Microsoft Secure Score is currently 48%. The alignment radar breaks the score down by service area, helping you identify where the tenant is performing well and where improvements may be needed. You can also automate monitoring by configuring policy alerts. In the Alerting module, create a policy monitoring alert and choose who should receive notifications. Alerts can be sent immediately when drift is detected or included in a daily summary. Once configured, EcpPro automatically notifies the selected recipients whenever a tenant drifts from its baseline. The same configuration can be applied to multiple tenants at the same time. In this example, 3 tenants have been selected. Assign the baseline group, switch the tenants to Enforce mode, and EcpPro confirms that the action has been applied to all 3 tenants with a baseline scan. This allows you to manage multiple tenants efficiently through a single operation. That completes the EcpPro Policy Module walkthrough. You defined your baseline as a reusable template, applied it to a tenant, and identified where it no longer complied. You corrected that drift by enforcing the checks that mattered, then set up monitoring to keep every tenant aligned. For a full walkthrough of each step, see the Policy Module documentation in the EcpPro portal, or reach out to our support team at support@ecppro.com. Thanks for watching.